Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. I'm very happy the House passed the massive $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So, this is great news. The president is expected to sign this stimulus package on Friday this week. So, this is extremely encouraging, and I want you to know that I'm extremely happy for our fellow Americans. I know that $1,400 stimulus check and $300 a week in unemployment benefits is not raining money. Check that out. That's what I'm known for. Now there are many places popping up online saying, Dr. Nitin Chhoda from Ignition Time makes it rain money. Check that out. There's lots and lots of money. One of those $100 bills fell right behind you. It's behind you on your couch. Turn around right now, pause this video, turn around right now and pick that up, because that's what happens with the Ignition Time channel. But in all seriousness, my goal for you is bigger and broader beyond stimulus checks, beyond unemployment benefits. My goal for you is to escape the cycle of poverty that you see on your screen. I was able to escape the cycle of poverty. Escaping the cycle of poverty requires you to be able to enhance your skills, to be able to get the right knowledge, to be able to meet the right people, interact with the right people, so that you can work in a field or run a business, do something that helps you achieve your full potential and by extension, your full productivity, that allows you to be able to afford high quality food, high quality education, clean water, high-speed internet. I can't even believe I'm talking about some of these things in a country like the United States of America. But if there's one thing this pandemic has taught us, it is a significant divide between the rich and the poor. So here's something that's very interesting. The Democrats are attempting to address this divide. On your screen, you'll see an article that was published by Politico, and the article reads, a $60 billion surprise in the stimulus plan, tax hikes. Yep. Democrats actually managed to tuck in a bunch of tax hikes on wealthy corporations and big corporations, because guess what? At some point, we have to pay for all the stimulus. And should the money come from the middle income taxpayer like you, or should the money come from the wealthy and large corporations? I have to be completely honest with you. The camera does not lie. I will end up paying significantly more taxes under the Biden administration, and I'm okay with it. Look at me. The camera does not lie. I've always believed that help should go to those who need it the most. I am a beneficiary of the capitalist structure of the American system, and I am happy to pay more taxes as long as help goes to those who need it the most, which is what the American Rescue Plan is attempting to do. So what are some of these provisions that actually essentially tax the wealthy and large corporations? One of the provisions takes away deductions for publicly traded companies that pay top employees more than $1 million. So in other words, these publicly traded companies will end up paying more tax. Another provision cracks down on a loophole on how multinational corporations do their taxes. And a third provision now targets owners of unincorporated business accounts for their losses. So if you own a business account that is not incorporated and you try to write things off, and especially if you make a lot of money, guess what? The government is going to come after you and get more taxes from you. So clearly the money is going to come from the rich. Now this could be a sign of things to come, and this actually is a precursor of what lies ahead. Here's a quote on your screen from this Politico article. Of course, the real test for Democrats, who promised stiff tax increases on the rich during last year's campaign, will come later when they face demands to pay for something big like Biden's plans for a major infrastructure package. Now, I want our viewers and subscribers to know that all of this spending, the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, it can be financed in one of two ways. The first is by raising taxes on either the rich and the ultra wealthy or the middle income taxpayer. Now, what's really surprising is that historically a majority of the revenue of the US government has come from middle income taxpayers, because the rich have A, been shielded from taxes, and B, they hire the right accountants. They use loopholes in the tax law. They are actually able to invest in real estate. They are able to write off expenses. Now, we're not going to get into whether they legitimately or illegitimately write off expenses. That's a whole different discussion. But they write off expenses and end up paying less taxes. A case in point is a former president, Donald Trump, and we all know about his tax returns. Now, let's be as clear as possible. The money is going to have to come from either taxing the ultra rich and the ultra wealthy and the middle class, or by simply creating more and more debt, by creating more and more deficit spending. The big question though is this a sign of things to come? Here's a quote from Seth Hanlon, who's a senior fellow at the Liberal Center for American Progress. Clearly, it's a signal that Democrats will look to high-income people and large corporations for revenue for the investment package to come, meaning the upcoming infrastructure plan, the Build Back Better agenda. So what are the Democrats doing? One of the things that the Democrats are doing is creating more pressure on companies that pay employees that make over $1 million. There was a limit of 5 previously. Now the limit is 10. What do I mean by that? Businesses, large corporations are normally allowed to deduct employees' pay on their tax bills, but there are rules limiting the deductions when a CEO and when senior officials get paid more than $1 million a year. Normally, that limit was set to 5, but now Democrats have now doubled this to 10, meaning that more individuals would be subject to this restriction, and this will impact businesses like investment banks. So basically what this means is, in the past, only up to 5 people could have a restriction where their pay, if it was over $1 million, could be deducted as an expense from the tax return. Now it's doubled from 5 to 10. In other words, there are more restrictions about how much money some large companies like investment banks can deduct from their taxes, which basically means that there'll be more tax revenue for the government. This is expected to create about $6 billion in revenue. Now, these were just some examples. There are Democrats who say that more could have been done. Here's a quote from Congressman Lloyd Doggett, who's the number 2 Democrat on the Ways and Means Committee, that, by the way, is responsible for writing tax law. He complained that Democrats could have done more. He said, while these modest Senate changes are welcome because these changes actually originated in the Senate, they show the tremendous unused potential that could be tapped to help families trying to make a comeback. He said these revenues could be used for extending beyond this year the child tax credit or affording health insurance to more uninsured. Basically saying, hey, let's get more money from the rich so that we can help those who are poor, so that we can help those who are middle income to afford more health insurance. And the Democrats are not done yet. Here's a quote from Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who's a Democrat from Rhode Island. And he's on the tax writing finance committee on the Senate side. He hopes that Democrats will further extend the loss limitation restrictions on unincorporated businesses in future legislation. Basically saying, hey, let's make it harder for unincorporated business owners to take their losses and write off their losses and offset their income from other sources with losses from unincorporated businesses. He said the latest relief bill contained only a temporary fix, a small temporary fix, but I hope we can make the loss limitation permanent. That's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. These are signs of things to come, where the Democrats will start to tax the rich more and more. They'll start to tax the wealthy, the large corporations more and more. They plan to close loopholes that essentially help the wealthy pay less in taxes. But I have to be completely honest with you. Regardless of what the government does, and all of this has to get support in the House and the Senate, I do think the wealthy have the accountants, they have the resources, they have the ways and means to be able to find ways to work around whatever loophole is placed in front of them. I'm not saying they do something that's illegal, but I am saying that they know how to walk that line, maybe even walk that gray area, in order to be able to minimize their tax liability. That's just the way things are. That's just the way our system is. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.